Hi everyone, my name is Quinn and I am 40 years old. I have a fascinating story to share with you. It was meant to be a joyful day, a gathering of our family to celebrate our wedding anniversary. To mark the occasion, my husband Oliver and I decided to invite some relatives to our house. Oliver and I planned to spend some time at a spa to prepare for the festivities, while our friends and family decorated our home beautifully for the special event. It was a charming and delightful idea, but unfortunately, my mother-in-law did not share the same sentiment. You see, my relationship with my mother-in-law was quite strained. Despite my best efforts to live harmoniously and peacefully with her, she was determined to insult and belittle me. Our relationship was like a constant battle, with Hannah always attacking my character and value. Unfortunately, on this particular day, which was supposed to be special, Hannah's maliciousness continued. After Oliver and I finished pampering ourselves at the spa, we were ready to embrace the day and enjoy the company of our family members in our beautiful home. However, I couldn't ignore the cold atmosphere that greeted us as we entered. Something was definitely wrong. Instead of receiving warm smiles, hugs, and confetti, it seemed as if the friends and family present had just. A group of peculiar extraterrestrial beings were graciously received into our abode. They bestowed upon us icy and peculiar gazes. Furthermore, upon closer examination, it became apparent that these strange stares were solely directed towards me. To make matters worse, the individual with the most frigid and severe gaze happened to be none other than my beloved mother-in-law. Oh, dear friends, behold, it is now time for us to extend a warm welcome to the charming couple. Hannah, is everything all right? You appear different today. Is something troubling you? What is happening? Is anyone going to felicitate us on our anniversary? Oh my dear, I wish I could offer congratulations, but regrettably, we cannot do so. Why not? Because Quinn is a thief. Pardon me? You heard correctly. You are a thief. Mom, what is happening? First, she stole you away from me, and now she has pilfered this house. I beg your pardon, I was utterly astounded. What on earth was she thinking? Mom, what are you saying right now? This is my domicile, Ali, and as such, Quinn cannot be present here. What is transpiring with you? Why would you utter such a dreadful accusation? I believed that we would receive a warm reception to celebrate our anniversary together as a community, but evidently I was mistaken. I knew that your negative aura would spoil everything. Humph, stop being so self-absorbed, Quinn. You have no right to be upset. I am the one who should be expressing more frustration here. Mom, I am uncertain about the situation, but please, let us discuss this matter privately. No, there is no need. I have already divulged everything to the people present here. I have revealed the entire truth, and they are in agreement with me. They are convinced that this residence belongs to me, just as you assured me, Ollie. What? I can clarify all of this, Quinn. Trust me. What is there to clarify? This dwelling is mine, and as the owner, I need to establish some rules here. Quinn, you are no longer welcome in my abode. What? What is the significance of this? You have two choices. I am presenting you with an ultimatum. You can either vacate this residence immediately or initiate a divorce and return my son to me. The decision is yours. I simply couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could she be so heartless? I turned to Oliver and gave him a perplexed expression, but he merely mirrored the same bewildered look back at me. Listen, Mom, I want to salvage this day, all right? It's meant to be a joyous celebration, and I don't want your irrational behavior ruining things. Irrational behavior? Well, I never. We only have a limited time with the photographers and caterers here. Please, let's all calm down, and perhaps once we have some lovely pictures and delicious food, we can discuss this matter more calmly. Although tensions were already high, and it seemed like Hannah and I were about to reenact a scene from WWE SmackDown, I was grateful that Oliver did his best to defuse the situation. He was right. The professionals we hired were costly, and we couldn't afford to waste time, especially due to Hannah's foolish outburst. We stepped outside and attempted to appreciate the beautiful surroundings. It was breathtaking. Our wedding colors enveloped us, serving as a reminder of that very special day, memorable occasion. The photographer endeavored to capture some exquisite moments of our engagement in games, feasting, and bonding with one another. However, upon inspecting the photographs, one could consistently observe a scowling Hannah in the foreground or background, dampening the atmosphere with her apparent pettiness and animosity. As the evening progressed, Hannah's true nature became more apparent. The icy glances, the dismissive remarks, she had always been distant, but tonight she took it to a whole new level. I couldn't comprehend what I had done to warrant such treatment, but I heeded my spouse's advice and endeavored to continue enjoying myself. The remaining friends and family members who had joined us also seemed to let go of any inner turmoil and tension, embracing the festivities. However, once again, it seemed as though Hannah had no interest whatsoever. The celebration gradually drew to a close, and the hired staff packed up and departed. It is worth mentioning that the festivities were somewhat curtailed due to the incident that occurred at the beginning of the event. Nevertheless, I was grateful that Oliver and I made an effort to salvage any positive aspects from it, and all things considered, I managed to have a somewhat enjoyable time. But now it was time to address the significant issue that had been looming over us. I took the initiative and approached Hannah to discuss the earlier incident. Hannah, I have been doing my utmost to foster a harmonious environment, my connection with you. I've made an effort to reach out and invite you to spend time together, but it seems like you're pushing me away in every situation. What have I done to deserve this hostility? You truly don't understand, do you? Allow me to explain it clearly. Quinn, my son purchased this house for me, not for you. You were never intended to be a part of this family. As I stood there, absorbing her hurtful words, my mind flashed back to all the instances where Hannah's animosity had infiltrated our lives. The snide remarks, the undermining comments, she had always made it evident that she viewed me as an outsider, an intruder in her son's life. And now, believing that this house belonged to her, she thought she could do as she pleased. However, there was one missing piece to this puzzle, and that was Oliver. Hannah kept insisting that Oliver acquired this house for her, so we needed to involve him in the situation. Both Hannah and I gestured to Oliver, who was engaged in conversation with some relatives. I assume he was trying to mitigate any potential damage by ensuring they wouldn't divulge what they witnessed today. He hurried over to us, and that, my acquaintances, marked the beginning of a highly surprising sequence of events unfolding. We must discuss what occurred today, Mom. That was unacceptable. What do you mean? You explicitly told me that this house is mine. I have absolutely no recollection of ever saying that, Mom, and you know it. Oliver, that evening you were intoxicated, but I'm certain that remember when you mentioned that this residence belongs to me, and I have the freedom to do as I please with it. Once again, Mother, I am unsure of what you are referring to. Why would I hand over this property to you? Perhaps it is because you hold affection for me? Of course, I care for you, Mother, but your attempt to embarrass us earlier today was not acceptable. On our anniversary, Hannah? Oh, please, remain silent. Do you believe you have a say in anything, especially when it comes to my belongings? I could involve law enforcement and have you removed for trespassing. I have already made it clear before. You must leave or we will pursue a divorce. Mother, why are you so insistent on evicting her? Even if this were your house, which it is not, why do you desire her absence so strongly? Because she repulses me. Just take a look at her. I do not want her presence here. You do not want me here? Very well. Allow me to gather my belongings. Darling, please wait. No, I am tired of waiting. You are also to blame for this, Oliver. I am uncertain of what your mother is referring to, but it appears that you played a significant role in her feeling entitled like this. And what is worse, you have been complicit in the mistreatment I have endured from her. Yet you have done nothing about it. What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? Cut ties with her? Obtain a restraining order? Do you truly believe you can easily rid yourself of me? Do you believe that Oliver would take such action against his own mother? You must be out of your mind. Go ahead and pack your belongings, as you mentioned. Hurry up. I stormed away, filled with anger at how my life had turned out. I had a detestable mother-in-law and a foolish spouse. Maybe this turned out to be a fortunate event because I truly needed to depart once and for all. As I entered the residence, the anguish and humiliation from years of mistreatment started to surge through me, and my heart sank. That lady truly despised me, and I didn't even know why. I had invested all my emotions and efforts into this marriage, striving to establish a feeling of togetherness and affection. And now she presented me with this foolish ultimatum. As an individual who doesn't believe in separation, it was exceedingly difficult to even consider that option, especially when leaving her dwelling seemed simpler. I was exhausted and fed up with all the commotion. I had to depart, if only to preserve whatever tranquility remained in this place. Tears streamed down my face as I packed my belongings. It was going to be a lengthy night of sobbing and packing, but I was resolute in completing it as soon as possible so that I wouldn't have to lay eyes on that woman's countenance for another minute. I made my way to the study, gathering all of my documents, books, and files when I stumbled upon the property title deed. I was astonished. I wondered why it was left out in the open so casually and carelessly. But thankfully it was, because as I perused the documents, I came across something very intriguing. I ceased packing, realizing that this was far too significant, and I located Oliver and Hannah, who were still outside quarreling about everything. I still don't comprehend what you're discussing, Mother. I never relinquished this residence to you. Yeah, then why did the documents indicate otherwise? Which documents? From a distance, I observed Hannah rummaging through her handbag in search of something, but she was unsuccessful in her quest. Are you searching for these? I raised the documents, making my presence known. She glared at me, but I responded with an even fiercer expression, which caught her off guard. She had grown accustomed to my pleasant demeanor, but I had decided to abandon the facade of being a nice person. It was time for me to assert my rightful claim. You see, I have thoroughly examined these documents, and there is no indication that you are the rightful owner of this house. In fact, only Oliver and his names appear on the documents. What? That can't be true. Oliver told me. Whatever he told you was clearly incorrect, because I possess the authentic papers right here. Go ahead, see for yourself, read it, and experience disappointment. Hannah snatched the papers from me and scrutinized them aggressively, searching repeatedly for any trace or mention of her name. But alas, she was mistaken. There was no reference to her anywhere. What? I don't feel well. To the surprise of myself, Oliver, and the other attendees at the gathering, Hannah's eyes rolled back, and she lost her balance, fainting. She collapsed onto the ground, unconscious. We all gasped, and Oliver swiftly picked her up and carried her into the house. We did our best to fan her and keep her cool, hoping for her prompt recovery. After about a minute or so, she began to regain consciousness. What? What happened? Where am I? You fainted upon realizing the truth. You did this to me. I had not done anything to you. I merely came to the realization of the truth. You, on the other hand, are responsible for this situation. I had not done anything to you. I simply revealed the truth to you. Allow me to fetch you some water, and upon my return, we shall resolve this dispute once and for all. Oliver proceeded to the kitchen while I bid farewell to our remaining visitors, who had ensured that Hannah was all right. We were prepared for a long night ahead, determined to uncover the truth behind everything. Visitors who had ensured that Hannah was all right. We were prepared for a long night ahead, determined to uncover the truth behind everything. All right, Mother, here is your water. Now please divulge all the information you possess. It was during the Christmas celebration a few months ago. You were intoxicated. He was not just intoxicated, he was completely inebriated. He couldn't even recall his own name. Very well, whatever you say. He was inebriated and expressed his deep affection for me, desiring a closer relationship. People often make such statements when under the influence, Mother. Yes, I am aware, but you went on about giving me presents. Okay, what specific gifts were mentioned? You made promises of trips to the Maldives, Morocco, and Fiji. You also mentioned buying me a new air fryer. Furthermore, you claimed that you were gifting me this house. Are you trying to tell me that your actions today were based solely on promises made by an extremely intoxicated Oliver? Are you out of your mind? Those promises hold no value. Oliver appeared perplexed, as if he were searching his mind for any possible explanations, until suddenly a look of clarity washed over him. Mother, I am starting to recall that evening now, and I distinctly remember expressing my intention to give you presents. Indeed, I also recall mentioning that I would provide you with a residence. Not just any house, mind you, but not specifically this particular house. What? I clearly stated that I would gift you a house, just not this specific one, and I made that perfectly clear. Well, it seems your memory needs some jogging. I hurried upstairs to retrieve the security camera footage and brought it back down for Oliver to examine. He accessed the recordings from the Christmas party, and lo and behold, there was the evidence. A heavily intoxicated Oliver was seen clinging onto his mother, making promises of buying her various items, including the house. Oliver's mother then inquired, "You said you would get me a house. Will it be this house?" To which Oliver responded, "No, not this house. Where would Quinn and I live? You can have the other house, my dear. I want this one." I assured her that I would indeed provide her with a house, and I even made it clear that I would have my name on the property deed. What? Oh, it's nothing, my dear. I believe it's time for you to go to bed. As we glanced up from the iPad, we noticed Hannah looking rather guilty, like a child caught red-handed. So what do you have to say for yourself, Hannah? Well, wait, if you knew all along that this was your plan, why were you so surprised that you fainted? Were you intentionally seeking sympathy and attention? And you weren't even quick enough to prevent your mother from falling to the floor. Truly astonishing. I've had enough of your shenanigans, Mom. You've taken this way too far. Do you think that's acceptable? To play with and control people like that? Ollie, darling, don't treat me like a baby. You intentionally ruined our anniversary just because you want this house. Well, you'll never obtain it. What about the other house? You won't get that either. In fact, you won't receive anything from me anymore. I'm excluding you from my will. Hannah and I both gasped simultaneously. It was so surprising to hear Oliver so enraged. He had never been this furious before. Quinn, I apologize for not being firm enough with my mother. I truly didn't realize how deep her hatred ran. Oliver, that's not the way to speak to your mother. You're in my house, so be quiet. Darling, you don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. I didn't do enough, but that changes right here, right now. Oliver kicked his mother out of the house, and throughout the whole ordeal, she was astounded by her son's behavior. She was so accustomed to him begging at her feet that this was truly something that surprised her. Him standing up for himself, fueled by anger and disappointment, Oliver made his bold decision to remove Hannah from the house and even disinherit her. The very next day, he met with the family lawyers to ensure that this change was being processed. It was a necessary step to safeguard our future and ensure that justice was served. As the days passed, Hannah's bitterness and desperation became evident. She attempted to reach out to Oliver incessantly, bombarding him with messages and calls. Bombarded with phone calls and messages, but Oliver, unwavering in his decision, disregarded her efforts to control him once more. He pledged to shield me from any further malicious assaults orchestrated by Hannah or anyone else who dared to harm us. In the meantime, I reveled in the newfound tranquility and safety of our residence. No longer did I have to endure Hannah's constant presence, her demeaning remarks, and her endeavors to undermine our joy. The house became a refuge, a symbol of our victory over her deceit. Conversely, Hannah found herself in a state of bitter defeat, sulking in the aftermath of her exposed falsehoods. She was left to contemplate the repercussions of her actions. The house, once envisioned as her domain, now stood as a testament to her deception. It served as a fitting reminder of the price she paid for her betrayal. In the larger scheme of things, justice had been served. Hannah had been stripped of her false entitlement while Oliver and I pressed forward, determined to construct a future founded on integrity, communication, empathy, love, and trust. Our bond grew stronger, solidified by the shared experience of overcoming adversity. As time passed, Hannah's attempts to reconcile were met with steadfast silence from Oliver. He remained faithful to his promise of safeguarding me, ensuring that we could progress without the lingering shadow of her manipulations. It was a commitment he upheld with resolute determination. Today, I find solace in the comfort of our abode, the place that was intended to be a sanctuary for us. Every nook holds recollections of our affection and perseverance, serving as a continual reminder of the triumph we accomplished. Hannah's existence is merely a distant reminiscence, gradually fading into the backdrop as we embrace the life we have established. Oliver's determination to safeguard me never faltered. He stood as a pillar of fortitude, shielding me from any potential harm that Hannah might still endeavor to inflict upon us. He made it evident to her and to anyone who dared to question our solidarity that we were a unified front, a formidable power to be reckoned with. As the days transformed into weeks and the weeks into months, Hannah's efforts to reconcile with us diminished. She slowly realized that her deceit and malicious intentions had driven an irreparable divide between us. The repercussions of her actions had left a long-lasting imprint on her own life, and she was left to grapple with the acrimonious aftermath. Meanwhile, our dwelling flourished with love and mirth. The wounds inflicted by Hannah's hurtful expressions began to mend, replaced by an ambience of acceptance and encouragement. Oliver's unwavering devotion to our joy was apparent in every deed and every utterance. Together, we uphold this haven, a place where we could prosper and evolve untouched by the toxicity of the past.